The terror attacks have refocused attention on the Brussels neighborhood of Molenbeek. It's home to a large Muslim population of North African immigrants and suffers from high youth unemployment, which some say has made it ripe for ISIS recruitment. I want to get some community perspective now from Imam Asad Majeeb, who's live for us in Brussels. So, Imam Majeeb, I'm just curious because Molenbeek has obviously been covered extensively in the news over the past 4 months. I want to get your take on that. What do you think is the biggest misconception about Molenbeek?
I think the majority of the Muslim are peace-loving citizens in Molenbeek. I think in the media we have the feeling that in Molenbeek there are many thousands, I think, of radicalized youth. But I can say on the behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, there is no element of radicalization. I think in the whole society of Muslim in Molenbeek, I think there are only few, they are a minority, and the majority of thousands of Muslims living in Molenbeek, they are peace-loving citizens.
And I'm just curious also, how has the community, you say that the majority of Muslims are of course peace-loving, but I'm just curious how that community has been changed by the terror attacks and the perception of it in the media.
I think the majority of the Muslim, and especially the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Brussels and Molenbeek, are very sad about it, and they are very painful, they are very grieved. And we are going to do a solidarity march on Sunday about it with hundreds of members of the Ahmadiyya community to show our sadness to the people of Belgium, because these were also our citizens, or the citizens of our country also. I would like to mention here, maybe one thing can we do as a Muslim society, that we can do the pledge of loyalty in the schools. I think that will be a good idea, because as Ahmadiyya Muslim community, since the youth, we are teaching the youngster that the love for your country is part of your faith. So maybe if the government can apply the pledge of loyalty in the assemblies for the children, then since their childhood they can have the love for their country. I think this will be a good idea for every citizen.
Imam Majeeb, just explain what you mean by the pledge of loyalty in the schools.
Yeah, I think they should pledge that we will be loyal to our country as the national anthem of the country. Maybe. And one more thing, I think the government should also cut the supply line of funds of these terror groups, so they can be stopped to spread their ideas here also. And then this is also one way to stop them to radicalize our youth here in Europe.
Just continuing on the line that you mentioned about the pledge of loyalty, the fact is that a lot of people, residents in Molenbeek, even though they're born there, even though they're born in Brussels, they're raised in Belgium, they do not feel that they're part of that society. They do not feel Belgian. That is what a lot of our reporters are saying. Just explain why not.
I think speaking on behalf of the Ahmadiyya community, we don't feel anything like this. But speaking for other Muslims, for the other communities, there is a problem, because the unemployment rate here in Belgium, it's very high, and especially in Molenbeek, 43% of youngsters are unemployed. So this direct them to have a hate against, because they have diplomas, they have studied here, but they are not engaged, they don't get the opportunity to get the jobs. And I think there's also a factor of racism here in Belgium, and the government should deal with this factor also.
Okay, you mentioned racism, which brings me to my next point. I'm just curious what your biggest fear is. In the wake of these attacks, do you fear that the residents in the community of Molenbeek will become further isolated and marginalized, that there will be more racial profiling as a result of these attacks?
I think if now the thing we have to do as a whole society, we should be side by side at the government. We should work together, whether we are Muslim, Christian, or Jews, or any faith we are following. We should be together on the same page with the government. Then we can eliminate the factors who are present in our society, the factors of radicalization, the factors of extremism. If we are together with the government, then we can eliminate quickly these factors.
All right, Imam, Majeeb, thank you so much for joining us. You bring up an important point, that preaching togetherness, and also the fact that those who are radicalized in Molenbeek are a small number, and the majority of Muslims in the community are, of course, peace-loving Muslims. Imam, Majeeb, thank you so much. Appreciate that.